This video is dedicated to all of you I'm too busy YouTube entrepreneurs out there. At some point in our creator and YouTuber career, we have given the excuse, convinced ourselves of the illusion that we are too busy, we do not have enough time, there's not enough hours during the day in order to film content and feel ahead of schedule. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about our relationship with time, how the narrative of I'm too busy is not only not true, but it's a complete lie that you keep telling yourself, and how the natural and universal laws can help us shift and adjust to having the reality of being able to produce 2, 3, even 4x the amount of content in less amount of time and still be able to work on your personal responsibilities, the rest of your business responsibilities, and fit it all into one perfectly weekly good whatever schedule. If you're excited about today's topic and creating more time in your schedule, go ahead and comment time in the comments and let's get going. Now, let me just say that creating, period, right? Or if you're an established YouTuber, creating more amounts of content in less amount of time starts with one thing, and that is a decision. All right, most of us, not all, but most of us have heard of the universal theory and principle of Parkinson's law. So the law basically states that time or a certain activity that you're given expands to the amount of time that you allocate to give to it, which basically means if you look at an example of when you were in college, if you have a thesis due in May at the end of the semester and you're given it to, it's given to you the second week of January, you are going to take all of that chunk of time and use it to fill it up and expand it to finish your thesis. Okay, most of us, I know me, back in college, I was notorious for doing just that, like finishing a project a week before it was due and having the entire semester to do it. Now, it can work in the reverse order too. Parkinson's law. The less amount of time that you give something, the faster you're able to get it done, and the more efficiently your thoughts and your mind and the tasks that you're doing will get done. Right now, if you're using the excuse of I'm too busy and I don't have time, and you're stuck in the, oh, there's not enough hours during the day land, then let me tell you, you're looking at time in a fixed way, and it doesn't have to be like that. You can actually create more time and create a day that has 36 hours in the day instead of 24. You've programmed your own reality and your subconscious mind, more importantly, to believe that your week is full and nothing else can fit. You have kids, you have a full-time business, you work 8 hours per day, and each one of those hours is filled up with a business task already, and there's no room to fit anything else. And as a result of thinking and believing that time is a fixed thing, we don't prioritize and shift our schedule to film YouTube videos, right? To get in exercise, to get in meditation, to work on our personal selves. And we'll never justify the spiritual and physical things that matter to us most, that give us that good energy for us to think better, more efficiently, and perform the tasks that are very important, that are revenue producing, that are important to your family, etc., etc. So let's talk about decision and to decide something. Essentially, what happens as a YouTube creator, when you decide that it is mandatory and non-negotiable to film, what your life is going to do is reorganize your life and all of the activities in it so that you can now incorporate the activity of filming YouTube videos. And on the contrary, like most of us have done at least one point in our career, or maybe when you're getting started with a new YouTube channel, you decide that I don't have enough time during the day to film, which is the critical activity, it's the revenue producing activity, and therefore you do not give yourself access to more efficient thoughts, you don't give yourself access to what it's like to going through the motion, and it's literally impossible for your life to magically open up more hours during the week for you to reorganize this critical activity of filming. And here's the crazy thing. There is an infinite number of ways that you can reorganize your life and the way that you're approaching your business task and your YouTube filming and recording, etc., etc. And right now you are choosing to either not do it or to do it in one certain way. That's very limiting if you ask me. Here's one thing that I believe is a non-essential for not only YouTubers, but just human beings in general, and that is time for silence, time for meditation, time for you during the morning as soon as possible after you wake up Why is this important? Because it slows down the nervous system. It helps you build emotional resiliency for the rest of the day. Believe it or not, it helps heal limiting beliefs and trauma. And really, it sets you on a higher vibrational frequency than you would have had if you would have dived into social media, ran downstairs and grabbed your cup of coffee and went to go brush your teeth, shower, and all that. It helps you slow down and get excited and visualize your day and say that I want it to be in peace, and command to your subconscious and your thought process that this is what I'm going to do throughout the day today. And so here's the main problem with not posting, besides the obvious that you're not posting content, okay? There's actually several things, but the first one I would say is that your habit of doing this, what I am doing right now, gets broken. When the habit gets broken, the system gets broken, and then all hell breaks loose, meaning you interrupt your flow. For that reason, the love that you have for your expertise and what you're sharing with your audience goes down, because every time you have to rethink about and use energy to like, oh, how do I set up my studio? What camera am I going to use? And this and that. When you get out of your flow, you have to then reteach yourself how to do it. And it's almost like muscle memory, right? So it's very interruptive when you do start filming again. The other thing is, as a YouTuber, which I am so familiar with over the past 7 years, is that when you are out of flow, when you are not posting, when you do film and post, stupid things like low analytics, low amount of views and hater comments and all those things are really going to trigger you and piss you off, because in your mind you think, oh man, I spent all this time, I finally reorganized filming videos into my content, and why I didn't even get that many views, and I got some hater comments. And then you go down that spiral, which doesn't even exist anyway, and never would have existed if you would have just continued to be consistent from the beginning. On the contrary, when you are in flow, okay, when you are in a routine and have a strong system in a filming workflow, you don't care about a bad video. You don't care about these other little things, because you already have a runway in your back catalog. You're already like, okay, one bad video, which by the way, there's no such thing as a bad video. That's stupid and doesn't make sense. But when you're on a roll, you're energetically in alignment, and you're then able to go onto that next video with that I know who the F I am energy, and it doesn't say or do anything to my business or brand, or doesn't say anything to me as an individual if I have a bad video. Like, who the hell cares? So what I'm trying to say is, not filming gives you more opening to self-judge, to self-sabotage, to say things like, oh, I'm not good enough and blah, blah, and to make up even more nonsense about yourself, which rewires your subconscious in the very wrong direction. So really, here is the ultimate solution to fixing the I'm too busy narrative and to film way more in less amount of time. Adopt the narrative that it is a yes and situation. Yes, I can be a mom, I can be an entrepreneur, I can have my personal time, I can work out, meditate, do things that make me feel good, and I can accomplish all of the revenue and mission critical things in my business in 6 hours per day. Okay. Seriously. In the beginning, it's going to feel resistance, because that is what your thought process and your subconscious has been accustomed to. But when you prioritize filming and the things that make you feel super good throughout the day, the way your brain works is, once you insert a new thing into your business, you become a new and efficient and better thinker, so that everything you want to do, including new things, could now fit into the same container of time, or even less amount of time. Okay, there's a popular saying that Gandhi said, which is like, he said something to the effects of like, oh, I have so much to do today. Why don't I meditate for at least 2 hours? And most of us in this societal, go hard world will be like, meditate for 2 hours? That's crazy. But what Gandhi's saying totally makes sense, because after meditation, he's visualizing so much, calming himself down, getting himself spiritually aligned and energetically aligned in a place to tackle his day, that guaranteed he probably gets 8x amount of things done in a way smaller time frame, because he's energetically and thought process wise more efficient. Your reality will literally reorganize so that you have it all. Perfect example, when I took my maternity leave and I started coming back to work after 2-3 months, and I was working 10 hours a week, I freaked out, because I'm like, oh my gosh, 10 hours. There's not hardly anything I can do in 10 hours. But what I realized was I was getting so much done in an hour. I didn't have the BS of social media distracting me. I didn't care about Slack notifications. I was so laser focused on getting a couple things done really quickly that I became so much more efficient in those 10 hours than I probably was in a 40-hour work week. It was crazy. To prove making the decision about having the yes and situation is true, think about your younger self 15 years ago, or maybe back when you were, how long ago was I at the university? If I look at my life now, and I look at my life back then, I am getting way, way, way more done now in a short amount of time than I was back then. I would have looked at myself as a 22-year-old and looked at that Marissa being like, I don't have enough time, and laughing and thinking like, you have no idea like how inefficient your schedule is right now. And just when you're in your 30s and 40s, you think about your time in your 20s and teens and think, oh, they have no responsibility. You have no idea. How many times have you said to a younger person, like, you don't even have kids yet, you don't even have bills yet, or blah, 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 blah. Well, that proves that over time, as you adjust your thinking process and your decision-making process, that life will automatically realign to reorganize the activities and things that you want in your day. Put it this way, you have an endless task list. If you decide you're not going to film now, you never will. There's always going to be life events. There's always going to be busy seasons, kids getting sick, travel, vacations, interruptive things, unexpected emergencies. Life happens. So even more reason that if your life is feeling extra busy right now, there's even more reason to start filming, because it's the perfect opportunity to insert this activity at your busiest, so that in other seasons, when you think that things aren't as busy, you'll have a rock solid habit developed and formed, and you'll breeze through. You'll absolutely breeze through. All right, if you've made it this far in this video, amazing. If you enjoyed today's video, definitely check out the video coming up next, all about how to pivot your YouTube channel the right way. If you've been thinking about changing your niche on YouTube without losing revenue, subscribers, and sales, go ahead and click right here. That video is coming up next. Are you scared of losing subs, views, AdSense, and the entire audience that you've built on your YouTube channel?
Don't worry, you are in the right place because we have been there and done that.